Good morning. Welcome to this episode of the Solution Finders. And today I'm happy to be here with Cazzie Dare, who is a PSYCH-K instructor here in the UK. Hi, Cazzie, how are you?
Hi, Una. Thanks for having me.
So one thing that I really like about PSYCH-K is to think about a problem in your life and then shift from the problem to what do you want instead.
Yeah,
Really working on the solution instead.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I love about it. It doesn't mean that things didn't happen, but when we focus on the past, when we stay in the past, we can't really move forward from then. It's really difficult. So what we do in Psyche is say, okay, where are you at now? What's going on for you right now that you'd like to change? Because whatever's happened in the past, it's what's led us up to where we are right now. So we say, what's going on? What's your current experience? How are things now? And instead of this experience, what would you much rather be experiencing instead? What do you want instead? And then we focus on the goals as well to then be able to start moving forward and then look at, well, what do we need to really believe subconsciously in order to help us take those baby steps towards our goal as well?
Work on the subconscious mind.
Yes. Well, we use three aspects of the mind. There's one mind. We work with three aspects in Psyche. So we primarily are making the change at the subconscious level of the mind because it's so much more powerful than the conscious mind. But we do invite in the conscious mind. We do work with the conscious mind because we need to be able to identify what's going on for us that we want to change and then how we want things to be different. So we do that with a conscious mind. And then we say, okay, let's take these goals, these wants, these desires, and then we'll form them in a way that the subconscious mind can process and understand. And that's through goal statements, which are beliefs. We create statements to represent what it is that we really, really want instead of how things are now. And then we reprogram the subconscious mind. But we also invite in the superconscious to take a part as well. Many, many different names for that aspect of the mind. It could be higher self, universe, God, source, angels. We all have our own unique way of connecting to that part of us. So we always connect with that higher wisdom part of us that knows everything to make sure that on every level it's okay for us to go ahead and make the change. So we call it the gatekeeper. It's like the gatekeeper aspect of Psyche as well, to know
Uh,
that we're completely safe.
and can you give me an example?
Yeah. Oh, so many examples. It's just like which one should I pull out? So let's use somebody who wants to be a millionaire. Let's just imagine somebody wants to win the lottery and be a multi-million pound winner on the lottery. Now we hear so many stories of people who win millions on the lottery, but then end up worse off than they were before they won the money. They might lose friends, family, relationships might suffer. So in Psyche, if somebody wanted to win millions and millions of pounds or dollars or whatever the currency is, the superconscious might say, okay, let's connect to the superconscious. We might not have permission to go ahead and make that change. It could be that actually we've got to leap too far because there could be beliefs that we need to change first about being able to manage money, being okay with having that amount of money, to manage it responsibly, to be able to maintain friendships when we have more money than we have as well. So we have this gatekeeper in effect, which is the superconscious, to make sure that on every level it's absolutely okay, that no harm will come to us, and also that it's in our best and highest interest according to the path that we're on, according to our purpose for being here. And that's really the very spiritual side of Psyche, which is that we're moving away from self-help and moving towards self-realization. And that realization that we are divine beings having a human experience. And then by connecting with the superconscious, our superconscious mind, then we're working at that level to ensure that it's both safe, no harm will come to us, it's appropriate, we're staying on the best path for us in order to evolve as we are as well. So human evolution and our personal human evolution as well.
Wow. Oh, I'm a little bit yeah. I really liked your explanations.
Oh, thank you. Hope it made sense.
Speechless for a moment. And what do you do in your work as a Psych-K instructor?
Personally, I teach all of the workshops except the health and wellbeing workshop. That's taught by the director of Psych-K, director of health and wellbeing. I host the Divine Integration Retreat. So we start off with the basic workshop in person. So the Psych-K basic workshop in person, or for some, the online Psych-K online level 1 workshop. So two different routes. So people can study online or they can study in person. And the difference is if you study online, in the online level 1, it's only for self-work. But if you come to the basic workshop in person, you learn to work with yourself, but also with others as well. And the great option with the online coming on board now is that Psych-K isn't taught in every country. So it really expands the possibility for those who really want to learn it, but maybe can't travel, or there isn't somebody teaching in that country. And then if somebody who takes the online level 1 to work with themselves only, they think, I really like this, I want to be able to support other people, they can go to online level 2, and that teaches how to work online with others to support and help them as well. If we go down the in-person route, a bit complicated, if we go down the in-person route, then you'll learn with a basic workshop how to self-test so that you can use Psych-K with yourself, but also you learn how to work with others as well, and that could be friends or family. If then somebody wants to go further, we have the other workshops available, such as the Master Facilitation workshop, especially if people want to learn to work online and professionally. That's a great workshop to take. There's also the Psych-K Advanced Integration workshop in person, which is a real deep dive into personal transformation. And the balances from that workshop can be used with other people as well. So we have two options, which we always explain at the basic workshop what the actual routes are. And then from the advanced workshop, for those who have taken the advanced integration workshop in person, they can go on to do the 4-day health and wellbeing workshop and also attend the 4-day divine integration retreat as well. So there's two paths, so quite a lot of information.
Yeah, I remember my life changed in 2017. I left my corporate job,
That's
and then
right.
I found you, and
Yes.
I came to the basic course. And then every time I was doing a course, I said, now I want to do the next one."
Yeah. And then, oh, and then I'll do another one.
Yeah, and then between
Yeah.
2017 2019, I did all of them. I did a retreat in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
transformational for me.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
And how did you find Psyche?
Well, I didn't actually find it. What we often say is Psyche finds us. It has this way of finding us at the right time and when we're ready. Psyche found me it started in 2004 when I went to the Science and Consciousness Conference in Albuquerque in New Mexico with some friends, and we were volunteers. And I just happened to be volunteering for Bruce Lipton's presentation. I'd never heard of him, hadn't come across him at that point. I was on the edge of my seat for the whole 3 hours of his presentation. 2005, we went back to the same 5-day Science and Consciousness Conference as volunteers again. This time it was in Santa Fe, so it was absolutely beautiful. And this time Bruce was talking again, but with somebody called Rob Williams about something called Psyche. So I watched both presentations, and it was when Rob was on stage, what really stood out for me was how humble, oh, my cat's joined us, was how humble Rob was. His energy, there was no ego. He was sharing the information, and yet it was so simple. It was shared in such a concise, such a simple, easy to understand way that just made sense. And in that moment, I knew that's what I'd been looking for, because all my life, ever since a child, I was searching for something that made sense. And so I ended up starting with all the physical therapies. Then I did did my postgrad as a psychodynamic counselor, did NLP, did Reiki, you name it, brain gym, educational kinesiology. And I was I did the training to become a brain gym and educational kinesiology instructor. And that's when I went to the States and everything just flipped on its head. And I spoke to Rob and Bruce after their presentation, and Rob had just trained the first two guys in this country or in the UK to teach Psych-K. So I went on an obsessive mission to find them and ended up taking my very first Psych-K basic workshop in November 2005.
Wow.
A long time ago.
So you can see it's your passion, like you
Yeah.
are really it's your life in a sense, yeah.
It honestly it is. There's no for me there's no distinction between Psych-K, me, and my life. It's all just one thing that comes together as an experience, as life as well. So it's helped me. I mean, Psych-K helped me leave my previous job, um, balancing, working through all of the blocks that were stopping me from actually leaving my job and becoming self-employed. So Psych-K helped me with that. And then it's 2008 that I'd been balancing, but I hadn't taken the action because I had some what was called secondary gain. So there was a greater benefit for me staying in my job than there was leaving. So I had all these wonderful beliefs in my subconscious mind, which we see as potential. New beliefs, new programs in the subconscious mind are like this amazing, brand new potential that we have available to us. And it's the action that we take that helps us to start to experience the results. But I wasn't taking the action. And so I asked myself a couple of questions. I said, okay, what benefit do I gain from going into work every day when I really want to leave and become self-employed? And the answer that came into my mind when I sat with it was the word connection. And I realized that for me, the connection I had with the team I worked with was greater going in every day and having that connection, those relationships was greater than the risk of leaving my job, being self-employed and out there on my own. So I balanced around that. I balanced and created a goal statement that was something like I have all the connection I desire when I'm self-employed as I do when I'm employed. And that was the key for me. That's what really helped me wake up one morning, and all of the other beliefs were then able to manifest, to activate, so to speak. And I wrote my resignation notice in 2008. Not one even little bit of doubt. I was so aligned with it, handed it in, and a month later I finished. And this is all I've been doing ever since 2008 as I don't even want to say career, as a passion. It's not a career. It's not work. It's yeah,
Yeah, no,
passion.
and that's my goal as well. I think it should be everybody's goal to have a career
Yeah.
that is not that you don't want to retire.
Yeah, exactly. What's that saying? Don't do something that you need to take a holiday or a vacation from. Don't do a job that you need to take a vacation from. I can't remember the exact phrase, but it's true. It's true. But it's knowing, I think it's really believing that we can have that. It's the believing that it is possible, that we don't have to stay where we are, that we can change, we can have the experiences that we want, but sometimes we just don't have the beliefs or support to make that change. And that's where Psych-K has hugely helped me and helped me just like turn so many things around in my life as well, especially when it comes to making decisions and taking the risk to change.
Yeah, really, our subconscious mind is programmed from when we are born, and then throughout our life, but especially the first few years.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That 0 to 7. The hypnagogic, I love that word, hypnagogic stage, where we're like sponges, we're just taking on everything. We don't know that somebody's in a bad mood. We're just every single experience is downloaded into the subconscious. And then as we get older, what happens is we might be triggered by something one day, or we're just repeating these patterns and these behaviors over and over again, and we're trying to change them at the conscious level of the mind, but it's like just constantly coming up against the brick wall because these programs were downloaded way, way back when. And that's what's playing out as we go through our life, as we grow up, as we become adults. So what we do in PSYCH-K is let's get to that part of the mind that has all the power, that's really powerful, a million times more powerful than the conscious mind, and make the change there as well. And it can be, change can be really scary. The risk that we sometimes need to take to make the changes. We've got our lovely little comfort zone, our lovely little safe space. It's familiar. It's like, oh, I know this. It's really familiar, but it's not serving us anymore. But it can take a lot to come out of that safe space. But you know what? When we do, and we have that new experience, my goodness, everything can change in the most magical way as well.
Yeah, it's so good to take actions as well, right? To be able to do things that before we were not able to do.
Exactly.
So like, I think me personally, I'm so proud of myself when I can do an action.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. And that's what PSYCH-K does. It's what we're doing within the PSYCH-K process, in the actual change process itself that we call balances. We're transforming the stress and the resistance that had previously stopped us from changing, that had stopped us from moving forward. So when that stress and that resistance is transformed, we're able to see new opportunities. We have brand new potential that we're able to see. It's like before we were just going down one path, but then when we do a PSYCH-K balance, once we transform that resistance that's kept us where we are, suddenly all these other possibilities open up and we've got new paths that we can go down as well.
yeah, it's so good. Can you talk about working with children?
Yeah, oh, PSYCH-K is so great with children. So we tend to say working in person with a child from about 7 up, where they're able to understand the instructions, they're able to follow the steps, like for example, hold their arm in place for muscle testing. But it's about more doing than talking. So even young people, teenagers, young people, this can be really, really helpful because it can be fun as well. I remember one workshop I taught, it was a family run workshop. So I went away to teach it and they had 4 kids. So 6 and 8-year-old boys, a 12-year-old daughter, 14-year-old son. And the 6 and 8-year-old boys grabbed me before I'd even got into the house. Say, what you doing? What you doing? Shall I show you? They're like, yeah. So I knelt down and they put their arms out and I just a little bit of testing, invited them to say their name and a different name. It's magic. Like, can we do it to you? I was like, of course. Then every break they came in, do it again, because it's really fun as well. The 14-year-old boy attended the workshop and was working with his 12-year-old sister on the evening of the first day of the workshop, which was just, honestly, it's so heartwarming. And I think if we can support young people, this is my passion, if we can support children and young people now, then my goodness, you know, if we can teach children how to take their power back, how to trust themselves, their wisdom, their intuition, the world would be a very, very different place if we got in there where it mattered at the time as well.
So when I did the courses, my children were very small,
That's
and
what I mean.
recently I showed the muscle testing because I was doing some balancing for myself, so they
Yeah.
see me like, what are you doing? Because like I muscle test by kind of, I look like a pendulum.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
what are you doing,
way
Mum?
up. Yeah, what are you doing? And so I taught my child who is 8, and yeah, he had a lot of fun.
Oh, they love it. It really is fun. And it just shows us that change can be fun as well, because we have some myths in PSYCH-K that if we've had a problem per se for a long time, that it will take a long time to change. That's not true, not in PSYCH-K anyway. We don't have to go back and take a long time to change. Another one is that we have to relive everything. We have to know the root cause and go through and bring everything up. Not true. We don't have to know the cause of something in order to make a change in PSYCH-K as well. and we don't have to go through trauma in order to make a change as well. Yeah, so it's really good for kids. I worked in a school, did some sessions with some of the children there between 8 and 10, so one-to-one sessions. It was amazing. After one of the balances, I always say to them, how do you know it was time to open your eyes? And one of them said, I felt really strong. I was like, oh, that's amazing. It's just one balance. And it's so quick, easy, fun for them as well. Well, and us as adults, but I think we've got more stuff than a lot of kids to work through. They just change like that.
Yeah, well, sometimes I had some breakthroughs with the balances. Like I felt different
Yeah.
afterwards. I felt actually like I was really hiding when I came to the. I was really like in a survival state of freeze and hide, like
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know if it was from the first course, but I was like, you were asking who wants to share their experience. I was like, me, and I was talking.
That's
So I
right.
was ready coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That first moment. And we see a lot of that at the workshops, even with the basic in-person workshop, the change is happening from day one, even as well. And the sharing that happens in the workshops and the bonds that are created are just is so beautiful, and the connections that are made and people stay in touch afterwards and support each other. It's so lovely. But it's been so amazing to see your transformation through PSYCH-K as well, as you say, from where you were to here, and your business and everything you're doing and really putting yourself out there. It's just incredible. I'm so happy for you.
oh, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's yeah, well, the journey is always continuing, but yeah, it's good
Absolutely.
to have
Yeah.
that tool and say like when I find something, I can kind of work fast on it with
Yeah.
psyche. Like I know what kind of balance I can do for it for
Yeah.
myself.
And I think that's a key thing to know with PSYCH-K as well. And it's a bit of a stereotype phrase, but it's so true. It's the journey, not the destination. We know what the destination is. We know where we want to be, but it's really when we do PSYCH-K balancing, as I mentioned previously, we're transforming the stress, the resistance that stopped us from making different decisions, from taking new actions. So we're transforming that resistance and stress, and that allows us to take new steps. So our goal might be over there, but after doing PSYCH-K balancing, actually what we're doing is we're taking steps towards achieving that goal as well. So it all depends on what it is that we're balancing for, what the goal is, as to how long it will take to really experience the change in our lives. But the key thing is we will be able to do new, different things that will take us towards our goals so that we will get there one day.
Yeah, and I love the changing the perception of stress.
Yeah,
It's, really, and I've seen the results in me and other people, and it really takes that anxiety
exactly.
away.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be an emotion, it could be an event or a situation, it could be a phobia, a fear of something. But yeah, we use that process to transform it so that we reach that place of peace and non-attachment. So it's almost like we're neutral when we've completed the balance. We can think about that situation and we just don't have that same emotional charge connected to it as well. So we're in that neutral place of like, well, yeah, it happened, but now it's not triggering. We can think about it without having that stress response as well.
Yeah, and that's what happens. Like if we are triggered, we are acting from the subconscious mind, from some kind of belief, and we don't even
Yeah,
realize it. We kind of have these automatic behaviors.
exactly.
And for example, if we are in a stressful situation and we act in stress, we stay in that situation. Even if we are conscious mind, we want to come out of it.
Yeah,
We can't if we are still in the stress. We have to come out of the stress, be in that neutral state, to be able to say, okay, I can see what's going on
Yep.
and how can I change it?
Yeah,
How do
exactly.
I change it?
Yeah. And that's because we're in what we call a whole brain state. So during the balance process, we're activating both sides of our brain hemisphere, the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere. Both have very different qualities, like the opposite of each other. When we're split-brained, we might only be processing from the right side of the brain, which is very emotional. We can become very overwhelmed, can't see the wood for the trees, almost like a paralysis. Become like really, really emotional about something. Or we might just be processing from the left side of the brain, which is logic, um, words being really specific, ordered, controlled. We can't see the big picture. So when we do a PSYCH-K balance, what we're doing is we're integrating the left and right brain hemispheres so that we can see the detail, for example, and the big picture of something at the same time, instead of only being able to see one part of it as well. We can see the solution. The solution is more available to us. It's definitely more available to us from that new whole brain state. We have infinite possibilities available to us in that state as well.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to get to go in that whole brain state and being like, oh, okay, everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be okay. I'm okay.
We have limiting beliefs
Mm,
from our life, from our
yeah,
experience. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. In childhood.
What can we say about limiting beliefs? Like, for example, they are given from us, from our family, from our school, from the news.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're almost like bombarded from everything around us. We're bored. We're even in the womb. The stress can manifest sometimes. Then we're born and we have our parents or guardians, whoever's in that role, the influence. Then we go to school. We've got teachers, but also peers. You say the news, media, social media is a huge influence now, especially for young people. The government, even religion, it's all around us. And these beliefs are formed. Most of them are formed in those formative years between age 0 and 7, as well, that hypnagogic stage. And sometimes people think, oh, our limiting beliefs, our subconscious mind is an enemy, they're a bad thing, they're really negative. It's not like that at all. The subconscious isn't our enemy. If we trust the subconscious, we can trust it to actually change and help and support us. It's not against us. It's just doing what it's been told, from way, way back when. It's just that now those programs that served us at the time don't serve us anymore, and we don't need them anymore. So then in PSYCH-K, we can actually access the subconscious to rewire the brain, change those beliefs, and have the new experience as well in there. So limiting beliefs, they can come in many different ways, like I'm not good enough, I don't love myself, I don't deserve to be loved, I'm not lovable. Depending on the experience, these core beliefs can manifest depending on how we experienced our parents or guardians' perception of money. For example, oh, money doesn't grow on trees. No, we can't spend this. We've never got enough money. Oh, that's reality. That becomes our reality as a child because that's what we're seeing, it's what we're hearing, it's what we're experiencing. And then that remains our reality as we grow up. So then what we could do in PSYCH-K is say, right, this is your experience around money, around health, around success, around family, around self-worth. Okay, what do you want instead? What do you want to believe about money, about yourself, about your self-worth, about your spirituality, about your personal power, relationships, health, etc. It can even help with grief and loss as well, and going through that. Yeah.
How can it help with grief and loss?
So if somebody has experienced grief and loss, then we can help somebody. Again, it's with PSYCH-K, it's so individual. So you might have 3 people who have experienced grief and loss around the same time, but each of their experiences will be so personal and unique to them. So we always work with, we call the partner, the person we work with where they're at. So it would all depend on somebody's experience of the grief and loss, and actually maybe helping them with the stress around that, the overwhelm as well. And just so they know that they're seen, they're heard as well, and everything they're going through is absolutely okay, and that we can support through PSYCH-K with how they want to experience things instead. For example, it could be they have to go back to work, but they're worried, or maybe they're afraid that they'll suddenly break down. So that could be something that we could work with them around as well. And again, as you mentioned before, they transform the perception of stress.
Yeah.
So it could be the moment of the loss, go back and work with that and transform the stress around that, the perception of stress around the actual loss itself. And the future, what does the future hold? There's a fear of like, I don't know. If somebody's really shut down and they're overwhelmed, we could support with that as well.
Yeah, and we can change the perception of stress in the future as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
I remember I used this because I had to talk in front of an audience. So I said, well, okay, going to balance before to go. So I
Absolutely. Exactly.
not just
Exactly.
blah, 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 blah,
Yeah. I don't
going
know what I'm saying. I don't know what to say.
yeah,
I know what we should be
completely.
saying, but I can't remember. Yeah. Yeah. That freeze.
Yeah, and actually that's an example that I've seen in videos of Bruce Lipton and Rob Williams.
Yeah.
Um, it happened in one of these talks they gave. There was someone in the audience who
Mm.
really had a problem of going on stage and talking in public. And Rob Williams balanced with her on the stage, and then she started talking to the
Stop.
public. Yeah, she would not give the microphone back. She was
Exactly.
in a
And Rob
speech.
had to say, I've still got the presentation to do.
And then that worked really permanently for her in the future.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. She went back to the same conference a year later, and Bruce was there, Bruce and Rob were there, and Bruce was like, right, okay, I need to find out, has she seen changes? And she joined Toastmasters. No, she hadn't joined Toastmasters. She created a Toastmasters, I think it was, in her area. She created Toastmasters and was winning awards for speaking. And she couldn't even say her name in the audience at the beginning.
Yeah, wow. So that was
Huge.
yeah, a big example and something that really worked for her straight
Yeah,
away.
yeah, exactly.
That's good. And where do you do your courses? Is it just in United Kingdom?
No,
Or...
so I teach everywhere. I've been really blessed, had the gift of over the years teaching Kuwait, Dubai, Holland, Denmark, been out to the States with PSYCH-K, and trying to Romania, even like lots of different places abroad. Um, I am interested now to teach in Sweden. Sweden keeps coming to me for some reason, so I'm following that. And also very synchronous, Portugal, Lisbon, possibly in Portugal. It's all like stuff I need to look into, but yeah, I'd love to go over and teach there as well, possibly, or hopefully next year, once I sort of make some contact some people with that as well. But teach in London, well, at Heathrow Airport, which is easier for people to fly in as well. I teach in Cardiff, where I live as well. Bournemouth taught, and then my friend, my amazing friend Sharon, she teaches in Dublin and in Leeds as well, and sometimes Newcastle and Glasgow. So we've got workshops. We try and reach most of the UK with the workshops as well. So south, like middle, up north as well, then Dublin and Scotland as well, if we can. But we're always open. If somebody is interested to learn PSYCH-K and maybe has a group that they would like to train with, so it's more of a private experience, we can work with that as well. But yeah, we'll go anywhere.
And do you offer like one-to-one sessions as well?
I do, yep. So I offer one-to-one sessions. It's all on my website.
Oh, fantastic. Can you talk more about self-realization?
Yeah, so with PSYCH-K, it's back in the day. So it's came onto the planet December the 11th, 1988. So we've got its birthday coming up soon. And it was very much back then seen as a psychological tool that happened to have spiritual benefits. But now over the years, it's evolved and completely changed, and it's now very much a spiritual process that happens to have a mental, emotional, psychological benefits as well. So it is very much a spiritual process because in PSYCH-K, the philosophy is that we are divine beings having a human experience here on earth as well. So we're moving beyond self-help, which is just about us, and we're moving into self-realization, which is connecting to humanity, being able to support humanity and the evolution, the global evolution of humanity on a much, much bigger scale. And that's really why PSYCH-K is here. Even though it came onto the planet back in 1988, it's very, very much here for these times that we're in now as well. Because the way I see it is when we're born, as we grow up, we have all of these programs coming at us from all directions. And it's like we build up these layers of illusion. And then we're right in the center, but we often forget who we are. We're there all along. We are always there. We've always been there, but we become all these layers of programs and this illusion that has been built up over the years. Every time we do a PSYCH-K balance, we make any change, whether it's a belief or perception of stress. It's like we're peeling back these layers of the illusion, and we're getting closer and closer until we can get back to who we came onto this planet to really be, not who we are for everybody else, not all of these layers of illusion, these layers of programming, but who we truly are as well. And PSYCH-K really is here to help these times with the evolution, the global evolution of humanity as well, because we're able to work on a much, much bigger way with PSYCH-K. So we're moving just from helping ourselves, because every belief we change, we're all connected. Every belief we change, we are changing on behalf of the global community as well, because we're all mirrors for each other if we so choose to see that. But what we can do in PSYCH-K is actually move beyond just helping ourselves and actually help humanity on a much, much bigger scale as well, which is absolutely beautiful too. And we don't teach that at the basic workshop, but after the basic PSYCH-K basic workshop in person, we have some extra protocols where we work with a super conscious more directly, and a protocol for helping the global evolution for humanity as well, it's such a beautiful gift to be able to work at that level and to be able to give back to humanity and support humanity in that way as well as just working with ourselves too.
We work on those limiting beliefs, and when we are not in that state of survival anymore, it's when really like we look around and we want other people to feel like us. We want the world to be better, and we see the solutions. It's not like oh, there's so much rubbish on the floor, and we
Yeah,
just complain about it. That's like the survival state.
yeah,
We say,
exactly.
okay, there's rubbish on the floor. Why don't I pick it up myself now?
That's such a great analogy. That's such a great metaphor. Absolutely. It's not just walking past something. It's not just staying with where we're at, going, actually, I can change. But I can see something that's going on over there in the world. Hey, what can I do to help with that as well? Yeah, it really, really opens our awareness as well. And the possibilities of solution, like you say, picking up the rubbish rather than just walking by. That's such a great metaphor.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to see like the super conscious and really like um, the self-realization, and in the end, it's probably what everybody is here for. But yeah, we have to, and maybe that's the plan as well, to kind of program us. We are all programmed, and we do have
Yeah,
to.
literally.
Yeah, and we do have to, because we are born like that. We don't know anything, and we don't know how to do anything.
Yeah,
And then we realized that, okay, some of these programs, they are not really good for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not serving anymore.
Yeah.
Time to change. Yeah. Remember, not that we forget who we are, but being able to connect to who we really truly are as those divine beings having a human experience, but then knowing how to do that, but it's okay, and what's stopping us from actually living authentically, living in our truth as well. I think that's the key. If we can all live in our truth, the world would be a much happier place as well, coming in authentic living.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, that's how I found the Psyche is that I had my children and I had like a spiritual awakening them and like I started to question everything and I
Yeah,
went into all the the conspiration theories and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was getting in a bad place. Like personally, I
Yeah,
was kind of scared of everything.
yeah,
And I thought, what do I want for them? Like, and it has to start from me. I can't show up in fear all the time, and I'm just fascinated to them.
yeah.
And then I realized that actually I had these photos from when I was very small, where I am laughing out loud, and when I am talking to people on the
Mm.
beach, like so it looked like there was a change in personality at a certain point when I was small. And
Yeah,
when I did your courses, I kind of that kind of joy of the when I was small came back, and I was like, ooh. And I had it from my children as well. Like I could see their joy
yeah,
when, especially when they are very small, they giggle all the time.
yeah, yeah.
And but then started to feel it myself as well. I was like, okay, it's like I had that and I lost it some way, and I
Mm.
want it back.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you deserve to have it back as well. We all do. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then like from those states, we can be more creative. We can be kinder to other people, and
yeah. That's it. When we're not coming from that place of stress, when we're coming from that, but the stress means that we're split-brained. When we're relaxed, we're whole-brained, and that's when we can really be in the joy as well. Yeah.
yeah, and then like, when you were talking about the split brain, you described the right brain overwhelmed and
Mm.
emotional. I was like, yeah, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I was
Overwhelmed.
exactly the same. I used to joke that I didn't even have a left hemisphere. I was just living my life through my right hemisphere. And I always say, it's like, I like to think I'm a bit more balanced now. Not sure people in my life would say the same, but I like to think I'm a bit more balanced. My left hemisphere's come online more now, and I'm able to actually see the logic rather than just being in overwhelm as well. I can see, oh, actually, I can see a solution there, detail and big picture. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So it's really like, yeah, we have a good example of solution finders here.
Oh, amazing.
I thank you very much for this chat. Really enjoyed it. And
Oh, thanks, Soon. I've really enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for inviting me.
you're welcome and thank you. I hope you enjoyed this first episode. If you would like to find out more about Kazi's workshops and one-to-one sessions, you can visit her website using the link in the description. I also offer Psyche sessions, one-to-one on Zoom, and distance sessions. And there will be the links in the description for my sessions as well. And thank you very much for watching this episode. And I will see you next on Friday with an episode about our mind that is 5% conscious and 95% subconscious. Bye.